Hello everyone. Welcome back. Today, we've got some crucial news you don't want to miss. Let's dive right into the top financial headlines and break down what's happening. For key updates you should know. 1. U.S. job market resilience amid challenges. Today, the U.S. Department of Labor reported that initial claims for unemployment benefits dropped to their lowest level in 7 months. This marks a strong rebound in the labor market after setbacks caused by severe November storms. However, the data also highlights some challenges. Unemployed workers are taking longer to find new jobs, and the unemployment rate has ticked up. Overall, these figures suggest that the U.S. labor market remains resilient, albeit not without its struggles. 2. Housing market shows signs of recovery. The National Association of Realtors released October housing sales data, showing a 3.4% month-over-month increase in home sales and a 2.9% year-over-year rise in sales volume. This is the first annual increase since July 2021, reflecting the initial positive impact of recent Federal Reserve interest rate cuts. If the Fed continues to ease rates in December, the recovery in the housing market could gain further momentum. 3. Bitcoin nears $100,000. Bitcoin is closing in on the $100,000 mark, sparking significant attention in financial markets. This milestone not only reflects heightened interest in cryptocurrencies, but also signals broader trends, such as increasing institutional and national adoption of Bitcoin as a financial reserve. 4. Nvidia's earnings report sparks debate. Nvidia, the undisputed leader in U.S. stock markets, released its earnings report yesterday, igniting widespread discussion on Wall Street. The company's fiscal Q3 revenue surged by 94% year-over-year, surpassing the market's expectation of an 87% increase. This growth, driven by skyrocketing demand for AI chips, highlights Nvidia's dominance in sectors like drug discovery, humanoid robotics, and AI infrastructure. However, Nvidia's cautious guidance for Q4, a projected 70% revenue growth, down from Q3's 94%, has tempered market enthusiasm. While some investors interpreted this as a sign of slowing momentum, Nvidia's shares fell by less than 2% post-earnings, defying predictions of a steeper decline. Analysts attribute the relatively mild reaction to Nvidia's strong fundamentals and its unmatched position in the AI chip market, where it commands over 80% market share. The Wall Street Journal emphasized that despite Nvidia's exponential growth over the past 2 years, sustaining such rapid expansion will become increasingly difficult as the company's scale grows. Additionally, European and US antitrust regulators are closely monitoring its dominance. Key takeaways: Nvidia's market power. Sovereign investments in AI infrastructure contributed $10 billion to Nvidia's revenue this year, up from zero last year. The global AI boom and strategic investments from both private and public sectors ensure continued demand for Nvidia's advanced chips. While Nvidia's stock didn't receive a celebratory bump today, this earnings report reinforces the notion that the company's growth is built on solid ground, not speculative hype. Next, let's focus on the key updates on the Ukraine war. 1. Missile launch sparks nuclear concerns. A recent Forbes report revealed that Russia launched a missile capable of carrying a nuclear warhead at Ukraine on Thursday. This launch, which Ukrainian officials believe was a response to Ukraine's use of Western-supplied missiles earlier in the week, has drawn significant international attention. Ukraine's Air Force reported that an intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, struck the city of Dnipro early Thursday morning. The missile, fired from Astrakhan in southern Russia, over 650 miles away, was equipped with a conventional warhead rather than a nuclear one. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described the weapon as possessing all the characteristics of an ICBM. He accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of using Ukraine as a testing ground, adding that Putin fears normalcy and stability surrounding him. Experts are currently evaluating the implications of this attack. 2. Escalation fuels oil price surge. A Reuters report highlighted growing signs of escalation in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, with Ukraine increasingly deploying Western-supplied long-range weapons. Russia's missile attack on Dnipro followed Kiev's intensified use of these advanced arms. The potential use of Cold War-era weaponry by Russia has alarmed global markets, causing crude oil prices to spike. West Texas Intermediate (WTI) crude climbed to $70 per barrel, while Brent crude approached $74 per barrel. If confirmed as the first use of such missiles since the Cold War, this attack marks a significant and dangerous escalation in the conflict. 3. U.S. clarification eases concerns. The Wall Street Journal later reported that U.S. officials confirmed Russia had not used an intercontinental ballistic missile in the Dnipro attack. Instead, they identified the weapon as a medium-range missile. This clarification has significantly reduced fears of a full-scale ICBM strike in Ukraine, tempering the risk of the conflict escalating into an unprecedented nuclear confrontation. Next, let's turn to India. U.S. prosecutors accuse Adani of $250 million bribery scheme. In a development that has sent shockwaves through India, U.S. prosecutors have accused Indian billionaire Gautam Adani of orchestrating a $250 million bribery scheme. This is a significant blow to Adani, one of India's most powerful businessmen and a close ally of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. According to the charges filed on Wednesday, Adani and other defendants allegedly bribed Indian officials to secure lucrative solar energy contracts while concealing the scheme from U.S. investors during fundraising efforts. The case falls under U.S. jurisdiction because Adani's group issued dollar-denominated bonds in U.S. markets, raising funds from American investors for the project. By failing to disclose the illegal nature of these dealings, Adani potentially misled U.S. investors, thereby violating U.S. laws designed to protect market integrity. This case has broader implications beyond the courtroom. Adani's fortunes have long been tied to Modi's political dominance, with critics alleging that the billionaire has benefited from government favoritism. A conviction or even prolonged legal scrutiny could severely damage Modi's image, particularly as he prepares for upcoming elections. Adani Group first drew international attention in 2022 when Hindenburg Research, a US-based short seller, accused the company of fraudulent practices, including market manipulation and improper related party transactions. These claims triggered probes by Indian regulators, which uncovered questionable activities. Now, US prosecutors are pursuing charges that could compound Adani's troubles. The indictment includes 8 individuals, none of whom are currently in the US. This raises questions about enforcement, as India's government, led by Modi, is likely to shield Adani from extradition despite an existing treaty with the United States. The charges have already triggered economic consequences. Moody's, one of the world's leading credit rating agencies, issued a statement warning that the bribery allegations could negatively affect Adani Group's creditworthiness. Moody's will evaluate the group's ability to secure capital and maintain sound governance practices, both of which are now under intense scrutiny. India's opposition Congress party has seized on the scandal, seeing it as an opportunity to weaken Modi's political standing. However, the Wall Street Journal speculates that the situation might de-escalate under a Trump administration, should he regain the presidency. Trump and his advisors, including expected National Security Advisor Michael Walsh, have historically advocated for a pragmatic, profit-driven foreign policy. Walsh has explicitly praised China's approach of engaging with nations regardless of their internal governance issues, suggesting that a similar US stance could lead to reduced pressure on Adani. While the case poses a serious risk to Modi if further investigations reveal deeper ties between him and Adani's alleged bribery scheme, some analysts believe Modi might navigate the fallout by aligning with a Trump-led US government. This case not only underscores the complexities of US-India relations but also highlights the intersection of international business, politics, and governance. The fourth article to share with you is ICC Issues Arrest Warrant for Netanyahu. The International Criminal Court, ICC, has issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, and Hamas military leader Mohammed Deif in connection with alleged war crimes during the Gaza conflict. The announcement has sparked widespread reactions, highlighting the contentious nature of the charges. Interestingly, the warrant for Mohammed Deif has drawn criticism, as the Hamas leader was reportedly killed in an Israeli strike. Observers suggest this move by the ICC might be an attempt to appear balanced, as it simultaneously targets 2 Israeli leaders while acknowledging a figure from Hamas. The decision has elicited strong responses from various quarters. Former US Congressman Michael Walsh, known for his support of Israel, criticized the ICC on social media, accusing it of anti-Israel bias and questioning its credibility. Israeli President Isaac Herzog also condemned the court's actions, emphasizing that they fail to account for the realities of the conflict, including Hamas's use of human shields and its continued detention of approximately 100 hostages. The ICC's jurisdiction is limited to member states that are signatories to its founding treaty. Israel, like the United States, China, and Russia, is not a party to the treaty. However, the ICC claims authority in this case because Gaza falls under the jurisdiction of the so-called State of Palestine, which is a signatory. Despite the warrants, the ICC lacks enforcement power in non-signatory states, making the situation similar to its earlier warrant against Russian President Vladimir Putin. While unlikely to lead to arrests, these moves could have lasting diplomatic and reputational impacts. For Netanyahu, the ICC's decision may heighten international scrutiny and amplify existing criticisms of his government's handling of the Gaza conflict. Although the practical consequences are limited, the warrants add a layer of complexity to Israel's global relations and could influence public opinion over time. The ICC has long faced accusations of political bias, with critics questioning its impartiality in targeting leaders from specific countries. This latest action against Israeli officials, juxtaposed with the inclusion of a deceased Hamas leader, has only fueled those concerns. While the warrants may not lead to immediate arrests or significant legal outcomes, they highlight the enduring tension surrounding the Gaza conflict and underscore the challenges of achieving justice in such a deeply polarized environment. Finally, Bloomberg reports that Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has announced plans to welcome Mexican nationals who might be deported from the U.S. under Donald Trump's proposed immigration policies. Sheinbaum emphasized that migrants should not be treated as criminals and highlighted the significant contributions Mexican workers make to the U.S. economy, including substantial tax revenues. In her statement, Sheinbaum also expressed an intention to engage with Trump's team to underline the importance of Mexican labor to the United States, signaling a diplomatic approach amidst potential policy tensions. One of the unexpected dynamics in Trump's 2024 electoral victory was the surge in support from Latino voters, a group historically aligned with Democrats. Analysts have pointed out that the Mexican immigrant community in the U.S. played a pivotal role in this shift, driven by unique migration trends. Over the decades, most Mexicans who wish to immigrate to the U.S., legally or otherwise, have already done so. The US-Mexico border has long been a gateway not only for Mexican nationals but also for migrants from around the world. Many Mexican immigrants have transitioned from undocumented to legal status, establishing themselves in American society. As a result, some of these now settled Mexican Americans view stricter immigration policies favorably, as they believe an influx of new migrants might devalue the progress they've made. This pragmatic perspective contributed to the unexpected alignment of many Latino voters with Trump's immigration platform. President Sheinbaum's statements reflect a mix of high-level rhetoric and practical constraints. While her government pledges support for deported nationals, the reality is that Mexican deportees represent a smaller share of U.S. immigration enforcement actions compared to migrants from other countries. Over the years, many Mexicans have already returned voluntarily, either due to economic challenges or personal preference, illustrating the complexity of migration flows between the two nations. The intertwined histories and economies of the US and Mexico create a relationship that is both collaborative and contentious. Some liken it to the US-Puerto Rico relationship. With notable differences, Mexico maintains a history of nationalist and occasionally anti-American governments, adding layers of diplomatic complexity. As Trump's administration reasserts stricter immigration policies, these dynamics are likely to intensify. For Sheinbaum, navigating this landscape will require balancing domestic priorities with maintaining a constructive relationship with the US. The evolving stance of Mexican-American communities underscores a key challenge in immigration politics, balancing national security, economic contributions, and the sentiments of settled immigrant populations. With Trump's policies poised to heighten these debates, both countries face critical decisions in managing migration and their bilateral relationship. That's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more updates. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.